Oh, hi there. Didn't see ya. I was too busy gaming, as you can see on my Steam Deck, which allows you to play games anywhere, including out here in the wonderful nature on this beautiful beach. Not the Death Stranding 2 one, the regular beach.
But wherever you choose to play, in nature, at home, on the train, whatever, I wanted to make a collection of games for people like you who are looking for fun summer video games that aren't just farming or beach adventures. I wanted to make something that captures the essence of summer, what summer means to me, the various versions of it, from childhood to almost 30. It's fun. I love yard work. It's very fun.
So this time I'm showing off a handful of games that I think evoke some sense of summer. The beautiful hot days, performing dubious acts, and of course, taking care of your dying grandmother. How fun!
You may know about Boku no Natsu-Yasumi from Tim Rogers' 6-hour-long diatribe on the game. But did you know that they actually made a couple of similar games, one of which came out last year, at least in North America, and might be the best example of the childlike freedom that summer should be about that I've ever played. Natsu-Mon has you playing as Satoru, a 10-year-old boy who moves with his parents, who run a circus, to a town in rural Japan. Quickly, you introduce yourself to the rest of the people that live there, you learn a bit of the mechanics, like how to climb and run and catch bugs, and then you're let loose to do whatever. Seriously, a lot of the game is self-directed, despite the existence of meaningful content if you know where and when to look for it. So instead, a lot of what's offered in Natsu-Mon are opportunities, both for exploration and routine. You can go off and do whatever you like, and often that's all there is to do in a day. That might mean looking at the map and seeing a place you've never been before and just going there, seeing what's available, catching new bugs, meeting new people. But the most endearing thing that this chunk of rural Japan offers is a cast of characters and places that encourage you to return to them over and over again. There's a cafe with music that changes every day, a workout routine that plays every morning at a shrine whose owner wants you to light his lanterns every day. At night, you can find a bunch of townsfolk getting drunk and chatting. The way I've been playing the game, one in-game day at a time, really endeared me to these characters and this routine and kept me coming back to see them again. The dinners and breakfasts I shared with the people living with us and the stories they'd tell about their day or what's going on in town, the sunsets with friends, the warm nights overlooking the town, and the fact that all of this is preserved in these childish drawings that Satoru does in his journal before bed is so sweet. It gives you a chance not only to reminisce about the things that you chose to do, but also to see what was important enough to this kid that he'd want to remember them forever. It's a good reminder of the joy that we lose as we experience more of the world, how so much of what we see that used to be surprising can become background noise. I could live here forever, going on adventures with Satoru and his friends, but much like summer, it can't last more than a season. The moment when summer goes from being a carefree, childlike experience and becomes a responsibility-filled and slightly less fun time is when you get your first job. I'm pretty sure mine wasn't on an alien planet, and I don't remember being a mechanic with a fox head, but Uncle Chop's Rocket Shop, say that 5 times fast, captures a lot of what your first short-term job can often feel like. In this game, you, as I mentioned, are a new mechanic who works on alien spaceships for a mega corporation. You live and work nearby and have to pay rent to said megacorp, which you can do by working on incoming ships in the garage. This involves playing sort of mini-games, and these mini-games are where I think Uncle Chop's Rocket Shop really shines. Each ship has a series of modules, and these modules are fully interactive. You're given a book that can help you diagnose what might be wrong with the module and how it works in general. I don't know if I have a disease that makes tedium enjoyable, but I find this so compelling. Mastering how each of these modules works and memorizing exactly how to resolve certain errors as soon as they pop up gives this real sense of accomplishment. What might initially be an annoying, blaring security alarm that you're not quite sure how to resolve becomes effortless. That's a good feeling, especially with how annoying that sound is. Replacing fuel stops being fiddly and starts to only take a couple of seconds. But it always gets more complicated. There's always something more challenging. The only thing I really think you become an expert at in Uncle Chop's rocket shop is how to use the book to find information. Part of the challenge of this, and what makes it a roguelike fix-em-up, is you can only fit so many jobs into a day, and if you can't pay your rent in the couple of days you're given, you're dealt with. But again, it's a roguelike, so you can always try again and come back later and fix more ships. I'm not going to explain how. You can play the game on your own. And I mean, apart from the bit where you're killed for skimping on your bill, this isn't unlike starting a new job, and eventually the machines and rules you're introduced to go from being an overwhelming series of incongruous data to something that's almost second nature. Until, of course, you have to move on, maybe to a different job or a different place. But that muscle memory and the stress you went through to earn it remains. Part of the reason you get a summer job is, of course, to pay for the gas you guzzle into your hand-me-down car, usually so you can go on your first road trip once you're old enough. Nothing but you, and the open road, and the random hitchhikers you picked up along the way, and no game I've ever played has captured the joy and challenges of a good road trip, like the beautifully grungy Keep Driving. In this game, you start your journey as a young person in the 90s, leaving home for the season. You take your beater, some gear you had lying around, a couple $100, and you head out on your own. Much like any good, aimless road trip, the experience on offer here is one of wanderlust. You are given one objective at the start of reaching a festival that your friends are attending, and there are others you can find along the way, but like the saying goes, it's more about the journey than the destination. The real meat of the game's narrative is in the stories you tell through its systems, stories that are backed by some incredibly fitting and really good licensed and original music. There are a ton of things to manage. Your hunger and alertness need to be maintained while being considerate of your meager wallet, so chugging gas station coffee and downing expired hot dogs might be necessary to save a few bucks. Your car, of course, needs gas, but if you can't afford that, you can sometimes do odd jobs or help out strangers. Maybe you'll find a jerry can on the road. I think it's really impressive how YCJY Games took the concepts of a typical roguelike adventure like this and gave them a more car-centric framing. It's fun. On top of that, there's the colorful cast of hitchhikers waiting to be picked up on the side of the road, joining you on their own journeys with their own quirks, both useful and otherwise. There's a songwriter who can earn you some money but has a giant guitar case that takes up a ton of space, or salaryman down on his luck who wants to go back to his kids, only to find his way back to you. And all of these meters and characters and systems can be messed with by the various obstacles you come upon between destinations. Sometimes it's a puddle or a big truck or cow, and in order to overcome them, you do some simple combat, using your skills, the skills of your companions, and some of the items you collected on your journey. It's fairly straightforward, but if you're not prepared, these challenges can take you out, leaving you to resolve your situation in sometimes awkward ways, including calling your parents, which has a percentage chance to end your game. Oh, well, baby needs his mommy. Oh. The game, too, is aware in some ways of the choices you make and the habits you build, giving the player new traits and abilities based on continued actions. If you drink a lot of coffee, or eat a lot of junk food, or smoke a lot of cigarettes, that will become a part of your character. Although these traits are reset between every run, giving you the chance to become a new, different, not always better person. In this way, Keep Driving paints a sharp and cruel picture of a lot of what that first road trip and the freedom it stems from is like. Everything's up to you. Your habits, or lack thereof, the company you keep, and the food you eat. It's nobody's fault but your own. In NAIAD, you play as NAIAD, a guardian of nature who protects flora and fauna from the harmful humans. You could probably see the story of this sort of thing coming from a mile away, but the way it's presented, both visually and audibly, is like a cool breeze grazing your skin on a hot day. It's refreshing. A lot of the time, you'll just be floating around, watching the water slosh as you move your character smoothly along the flow of these rivers before advancing to the next area. You maneuver between various creatures in need, ducklings that have become lost from their mother and must be gently helped back, or plants that need your voice to be brought back to life. Eventually, the stakes ramp up and you're dealing with ever more serious threats, man, of course, being the ultimate one, and you have to use the skills you've learned along the way helping these forest creatures to fend the humans off. But these stakes rarely force the game into a locked course of action. You're almost always free to explore an area. The best part of being out in nature, I think, is heeding a call, hearing a sound, or noticing an oddity in the distance, and making it your sole mission to reach it. And NAIAD does that on a micro scale, offering rewards and ever prettier views for the effort. One thing, I found this kind of funny, I have a terrible habit of checking my phone when playing games, and I looked up to see that the camera was suddenly cutting around to various shots from the area I was in. And it had this meditative quality. I think that speaks to NAIAD's success in trying to be a truly relaxing and serene video game. Even when you're not playing it, it's trying to get you to chill out. All right, before I finish up here, I want to quickly shout out an upcoming game that I think captures a lot of that sentiment of summer I've been discussing, Danchi Days, a game being developed by a small group of people, including Melos Hantani, one half of the analgesic productions team responsible for games like Anodyne and Sephony. This is a lovely adventure game where you play as Hoshino, a young girl growing up in a danchi, which is a mass housing complex in Japan, with her parents and grandmother, who, after a brief tutorial, is revealed to be living with dementia. Hoshino takes up the mantle her grandmother once held of hosting this summer festival, and you're tasked with going around and convincing the people that live nearby to go to said festival with the help of Moro-Q, a cute kappa who appears out of a pentagram on the ground. A lot of the cast of characters you meet are unique and very funny. The writing is seriously superb. There are moments where you're browsing an early version of the internet and it's got this sort of tongue-in-cheek sense of humor and about the whole thing that had me laughing a lot. That said, it's funny, but it's also sad for more reasons than Hoshino's ailing grandmother. A theme that runs through a few of the older citizens' stories is this idea of the bittersweet loss of time and the way that the freedom of summer gradually slips through our fingers. This is shown, though, in a memory that's presented by a lady whose whole thing is frying eggs on a slide in a park because it's hot outside. She's trying to show you how hot it is. It's very silly. The full game is planned to come out in 2026, and it appears as though it's going to be a lovely and surprisingly sad game based on what they've put together in this demo.
Hey, thank you so much for watching. I hope you found something new to play, and if there are any games that you think evoke some sense of summer or sunny vibes, let us know in the comments below. All right, go away. Leave me alone. I'm on vacation.